If that's going to the gas station and God's leading you to share with the person that you're pumping gas across from, share.
Mm-hmm.
If it's to just be faithful as a pastor, a Sunday school teacher, children's church work, whatever the case may be faithful where you are and share and show the love of Christ. That's all it's not complicated.
House, drive by the house 3 per day.
Nobody drives by their house. They're at the end of a long drive, about a half a mile drive away. So they're nowhere close.
And they still decorate?
Mom and Dad?
Yeah.
No,
I was going to say, if I'm at the end of half a mile driveway, it's going to be a reef on the door, and that's about it. According to some folks that go to church here, looks like you've been spending more time on your leaves than you are your lights, because I've been getting my leaves up.
You took off in November to start decorating.
Oh, is that right? I got some garland on the handrail, and then I got reefs, but now the inside's decorated. Renee goes all out on the inside. She don't care about the outside. It's a lot like the Lord.
Yeah.
Well, before Kenny starts stacking peanut boxes, welcome to the other 167 Christmas edition. This will be Christmas edition anyway.
Brought to you by and sponsored today by Mackey's Ferries Peanuts.
After last week, I thought we'd kind of got our peanut fix, and I come in here and it is a absolute peanut buffet. We've got pepper, salt, chocolate, planters, every peanut known to man here. And just peanuts for your sake, I'm going to say that they were half eaten when it got here.
Yes, it was. We did. we did bad. But I will say this. I'm so thankful nobody on this show has a nut allergy. Because if it did, we'd be hurting.
And these are good. I'm telling you.
They are delicious.
So I've started watching this, but I haven't finished it yet. Have you watched the first Christmas special? Kevin Costner there?
You know what? I did not. I was very interested in it, but I just didn't have a chance. I thought it came on tonight.
No, it came on.
Was it last Tuesday night?
Yeah, it was last.
Was it last Tuesday?
I know it was supposed to come on Tuesday night, but I thought it was tonight.
It must have been last Tuesday.
I was thinking it was a Sunday because I
coming
remember
on again tonight.
Maybe it's streamed on like Hulu. Disney or something.
Yeah, Hulu, I know it's streaming on Hulu or Disney.
I've been trying.
So I have not seen it. But I'd love to discuss it if you want to ask questions.
Well, I just was curious. It's given a little bit different perspective on it than, it's little things like, it doesn't necessarily say in the Bible how hazardous the trip for Mary and Joseph would have been. And some of the behind the scenes, but kind of some of the things that might not be
that you don't know. About. And some of that's extracurricular, kind of like what we talked about Sunday with the Magi.
Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, he said something about the Magi and that it's not necessarily that's not in the Bible. It was funny because I was hearing it from two different places. I was listening to your sermon and watching that around the same time. I was like, this is a common theme.
And they do. Legend has assigned those Magi nicknames and names.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't have any record of that. Now, there might be something, who knows? They might have found 3 Babylonian sages that named that and said, oh, that must be them. But there's nothing in the Bible gives their name. But doggone if you don't, Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar is the 3 names.
Yeah. I've enjoyed watching what I've gotten through. I think I'm about halfway through it probably. But it's one of the things that I was thinking about, we spend a lot of time thinking about the sacrifice that Jesus made and, the dying for our sins is certainly his biggest act of love. But one thing I've never really thought about a lot is just leaving heaven and coming down here in the first place was a heck of an act of love. When you consider what he gave up to come, you ever have to do one of those things? You have to go on a trip or you have to go somewhere you don't want to be at, or you got to go sit somewhere for a long time. You're just really just dreading it.
Like a dentist's office?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I imagine for considering what he gave up to come here, this is not exactly a great place to chill out for 30-some years.
No.
Compared to what he had.
It really is. It's a beautiful world.
It is.
God created it, but at the same time, compared to the glories of heaven,
okay,
it's a stinker of a place. All right, so you got that. Then on top of that is being not with your Father in a physical face-to-face or spirit-to-spirit relationship. That's a different thing.
And he didn't have even by human standards an easy life, born into poverty, and it wasn't a
no, he wasn't born in a palace and
that's right
fat.
Yeah, his life was a hard life, I guess you'd say it, and that's just I don't know, a sacrifice to be to be amongst humanity and to get to be with us. I don't know. I guess it was just a different way of thinking about the love that he has
It's
for us.
that,
That
and then take that all that you just said, which you're right, but then why did he do it? For his enemy? I
hmm
mean, we basically were at enmity against God.
hmm
We were at wrath or war with God. We had turned our back to God, and yet He was willing to come for. I mean, that's the you stop and think about it. I might sacrifice. It'd be tough. I might sacrifice my son for one of you guys. At
hmm
the same time, if it's for somebody that either hates me or has turned against me or is I don't even know.
hmm yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. So you do see the extent and the extremity of God's love.
Yeah. Once in a while, we've talked a lot lately, it seems like, about how we're real bad to look for signs and we always want to have the big supernatural signs. But I had something happen last week that was one of those little signs you didn't. I said a prayer, and before I could about say amen, I got a response. I don't know how much of an answer,
Oh,
but it was almost like a read receipt on a text. God gave me a little like, yeah, I heard you.
yeah,
I was listening to
I
that one.
like that.
But I was talking to somebody about a lot of people have been kind of driven away from faith by the church and by hyper religious people, and a lot of people in the church can act like Pharisees and things like that. And we had a conversation about it that day, and I was praying about it a little bit later on that day. And one of my clients texted me, and he's someone we've not had a lot of whole really deep conversations. I know he's a Christian, he knows I am, but there haven't been a whole lot more to it than that.
Right.
And he just randomly starts sending me like his quiet time notes for the day. And he sends me this text at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And his quiet time notes was almost a paraphrase of what I had just prayed. Basically about, please don't let me be a stumbling block for others by not representing you. And,
Right.
please, I think he used the word, please don't let me be Jesus repellent to anyone else.
Mm,
And it was just such an ironic thing because it was exactly what I had just been praying about for, an hour probably before I got the text.
awesome.
And then I get home and get this text from him like, what possessed him to send this to me
Right.
at this particular time? That also kind of gets me thinking though, everybody in church knows Jesus' character, what he was about, what was important to him, the type of people he hung out with. We all know the stories of the Pharisees and all that kind of stuff.
Within reason.
Well,
Yeah.
right. Why do so many people in the church forget that and act the absolute opposite? I mean, is it just human nature? Is it just I mean, I don't know. I don't understand how people that are it's just so ironic to me that the whole pillar of Christianity is on love and not judging others and
Right.
forgiveness and all these things, and then you get a bunch of people that believe in that put together, and all of a sudden they start judging like crazy
Sometimes. Yeah.
sometimes, and it's I don't know. Is there a
I think it is human nature. I think it also is, to go back, we always kind of go back to those chapters, but you either walking by the spirit or walking by the flesh, and the flesh is real. It doesn't die. We don't have to serve it, but it's still there. And so I think that's part of it of how much are you going to serve of the flesh versus are you going to feed the spirit or are you going to feed the flesh?
yeah
And then when you get into the flesh, it's just easy. And once somebody gets into it, if you're in a group, unless somebody puts a stop to it, for long, boy, it becomes easier and easier for everybody to do it.
yeah
I think one thing too is we forget what God's done for us or where we
hmm
were. There's a story about that Jesus said about he forgave the debts of one person,
Yeah,
and the guy turned around and somebody else owed him, and he put him in jail.
hmm
We don't sometimes we forget where God brought us from, and where we could have been,
yeah
you know.
yeah,
But it's
that's a
easy to
bad spot.
criticize somebody else, but it's hard to criticize yourself.
But that
That
is a
takes
bad spot, though. That if you get to where you begin to forget what God done for
yeah.
you, that's where a lot of trouble starts.
And now you know better. And
And
I mean, I just for my own self, I'm talking about myself. Sometimes I've criticized people for doing something. I'm doing the same thing,
yeah
but
mhm.
I can't see it in my eyes. You
well
know,
I always find myself in that trap a little bit where I'm upset after that conversation the other day, thinking about someone. being kind of pushed away from God by somebody else being judgmental and being just not representing the fruit at all
Right.
in the way they've acted. And then you start to pray about that a little bit, and by the about 15, 20 minutes into the prayer, you start to realize that you're judging the person that you're judging the person for judging somebody else, and it's like, oh man, now I'm doing the exact same thing on another level. And I struggle with that one so much because it's like, we talk a lot about self righteousness and not being judgmental, and one of the things that I'm the worst at is being judgmental on those who judge others.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
think
right.
everybody is. We need to always remember where God brought us from, and then
Mhm.
we wouldn't be so be so quick to judge other people.
Mhm.
But I agree with you. It is it is easier to judge those who judge
Right.
others.
We almost feel like that one's okay because that's what Jesus did. He
In a
did
way.
talk. He was very confrontational with the judgmental people, so we kind of feel like, well, that's okay. Jesus would have been mad at that
Well, you
person.
gotta be able to spot a hypocrite,
That's
but
right.
don't be hypocritical in spotting a
Doing it.
hypocrite. I think that's
Yeah.
and how you go about doing that, that's a whole nother story because, if somebody's in the wrong, you should be able to speak and say, "That's not right."
Yeah.
And that's part of, Galatians 6, 1 and 2. That's part of who we are as brothers and sisters in Christ to keep each other accountable. But at the same time, you gotta be careful.
But even that is something we got to be careful to do in love and in a constructive way, I guess. Even with the kids, I try to take the time to explain to them. I don't do it every single time, but
No,
this is why this is important. I know that
that's
you
right.
think that I'm on your case about this over and over and over again, and I am, but there's a reason that eventually always ties back to I love you and I don't want to see
That's it.
whatever comes of this.
And that's the ultimate goal of discipline.
Right.
It's restoration and discipline is not always correcting bad behavior. Discipline is also a rewarding or acknowledging good behavior.
Hmm.
That's the best kind of discipline as a parent is, I am so proud of you. The way you did that, that was great. The way you thanked so and so or you used your manners here,
Hmm.
that's great. And so rewarding what's good, correcting what's bad doesn't always involve punishment as much as it involves, hey, guiding, leading, and whatnot that way. So that's one of the things to remember when we discipline.
Yeah.
It's just what that's about.
Yeah. And this might be a meaty subject that can take us a while. I don't know how far we'll go into it, but I was thinking this morning about church, and I don't want to over categorize, I guess, people, but you've got people in the church that are walking with the Lord. You've got people who go to church who might be sort of lukewarm, put them in the lukewarm bucket.
Mhm.
You've got people who don't go to church very much who don't believe. You've got people who don't go to church very much that might be, fair weather Christians or the lukewarm Christians. I don't think you've got a lot of non-believers that go to church that are. I mean, there might be some that aren't open
Not that
about it, but
are, that hadn't already probably made a decision about being a non-believer.
right. And then you've got I think a big category out there of people who have a strong faith, have a genuine faith,
Mhm.
but they don't necessarily go to church all the time. They may not go to church. They may not go at all,
Right.
depending on how they worship. I do believe that church is a very important part of your faith and an important part of your walk. I also don't believe that, and this might be a controversial thing to say, maybe even in the room that I'm in, but I don't know that you have to go to church to have a close relationship with God. I think it helps. I don't
Yeah.
think it's something that you necessarily have to have,
You don't.
but
You don't. I mean, people in there saying I'm all the time that has a close relationship with God,
Right.
well, and
but it
here's
helps.
I said this was a meaty one. I'm gonna go ahead and just dump it all out there and y'all can sort through it. But for me, I've visited a lot of different churches.
Mhm.
I feel like I was one of the reasons I never got all that involved in church until more recently was I was always a guest. It seems like so we tried church, not like it, try another one. Maybe I'm just too picky. I don't know what it is, but I've been very blessed and I'm very grateful that God led me to Baptist Grove originally and get a chance to meet you and
Same.
then to here. But at the same time, I kind of appreciate what I don't know if miracle might be too strong of a word, but good churches are hard. Maybe this is just me, but I feel like a really good church is a little bit harder to find than I would like to think it is. It's not like going into town and finding a good restaurant. If you're talking about, finding the right mix of people, the right passage, preaching
Right.
the right pastor, preaching the truth, actually having that culture in a church that is holding accountability to your brothers and sisters in Christ, but also not in a judgmental way.
Yeah.
That's a hard balance to
And there's
find.
caring and loving.
Caring and loving
Right.
and still speaking the truth and not going
Right.
too extreme either direction. I just feel like it's really, I found a lot of churches that I like
Yeah.
this or I liked that, but not the whole thing to put it together.
No doubt.
So I guess that's where I say I think some people may not have found that church. And this might be the more controversial thing to say, if you don't find the right church, going to the wrong church can be a detriment or can be a deterrent to your faith
Sure.
if it's wrong enough in different ways. So I don't know. Just I think there's a lot of people, maybe even more so today than there were in years past, that church attendance is down. I think you said in the past. Does that
That's in the U.S.
in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
In England.
And England, Europe.
Your modern countries?
Yes.
Down.
Because they can do they have no need of God. I mean, that's what they think.
right. Well, and if someone is trying to think of, there are so many different ways that you can worship and so many different ways that you can feel closest with God, whether it's through, music, watching sermons online, there's plenty of information. Reading the Bible yourself is a huge part of your walk. Praying is a huge part. I guess where does church mix into that in that whole formula, so to speak? Because I know I don't get all of my spiritual food from church. I get some from church, and I get some from the Bible, and I get some from prayer, and I get some from fellowship with other believers.
Exactly. I was gonna say, and from others, believers. That's
Right.
right. Things to keep in mind.
Right. I think that's what I was thinking on the same lines. Churches, one of the main functions of church is being around other believers
Mm-hmm.
to encourage you, to socialize with.
Mm-hmm.
I would say you can get your theology on the internet. Well, you can some, but there's also a lot of bad theology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
That goes both ways.
well, yeah.
But I was gonna say there's a lot of bad theology in some churches.
There's a lot of bad theology in Sunday school classes. I mean,
Yeah.
let's just be honest. You can get into a discussion that
And you're not, a church that's good today might not be good 2 years from now. A bad church that was 2 years ago might be a good church. Good.
that's right.
So that,
Agreed.
people are always changing.
Sure.
And the pastor wise, that church had a bad pastor. Well, now they got a good pastor, or that church had bad people. Now, a lot of good people come in there. So to say that one church is bad is correct, but they don't stay bad. But a lot of churches that are good don't stay good. Just depends on who's there.
I think I've heard.
Sometimes bad stays bad, though.
Well, it's hard to get a good church out of a bad church. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, God's got to do a big work, and sometimes you start off so bad or start off down the wrong road, and usually it's a little bit at a time. Yeah, churches don't start out just way left usually, or way right.
Yeah.
It's over time, things happen and decisions are made, or just things come in, and then next thing you know, you're way left or way right from where Christ is.
And I will say this: leadership does play a major role,
Sure.
whether it's a good church or bad church.
Mhm.
Agreed. A couple of things there with that statement. You also need to take in mind a couple of things. One is the average pastor stays at a church. Now, this is no joke. This is Baptist world, 3.5 years.
I don't get that.
So now here's the thing. And I've always compared a pastor and the church almost like a marriage. It's husband and wife in a way, although I've got a wife, but it really is. It is trying to find the right one. When a church is looking for that right pastor, it is almost looking for that leader, that spiritual leader. So it is kind of like a spouse and a husband and wife. So it is. And so if you get a bad one, or it's not a good mix, or the relationship just doesn't jive, man, it can be terrible. But what oftentimes happens is these pastors come in and they're just looking a stepping stone. And I'm looking for the next big church, or I want to get to that level of, I want a church that's running 1,000 because that's where I want to be, rather than just be faithful where God's called you.
Yeah.
And if God's called me to be a pastor of 400, and then that grows to 800, I want to be faithful. If God's called me to be the pastor of 400 and it doesn't grow no more than that, then I want to be faithful. But I want to be trying to grow. And sometimes, depending on where you are, growth may not. For instance, we in this area probably have a better chance of growing than First Baptist Duck, North Carolina.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't even know if there's a First Baptist Duck.
Yeah, there is.
There is?
Duck,
And
North Carolina.
but, I mean, there's not much
I don't even
people
think I knew
living
there was
there.
a
There's
duck.
not many people moving there.
Outer Banks.
Yeah, northeast.
Okay.
But there's not many people living there. Not many people, it's a little bitty podunk town. Is that okay to say? Sorry to
Well,
many listeners in Duck, North Carolina.
but a lot of people that
To
live
the
there.
one.
A lot of people live there for 3 months. But
Yeah, for
local
some.
people,
But nobody's living there.
not right now.
Yeah. So growing that church is going to be difficult because you just don't have that same versus you living in a metropolis or a city that's constantly moving and people coming in. All right, that's different. So if a church only has that leader for 3.5 years, the studies show it really doesn't develop the character of the leader. At least 7 years is what it says. So I think a tenure for a Baptist pastor ought to be at least 7 years. Now, sometimes they're so bad and so hostile or so bad they need to leave. But if you're not there 7 years, you don't even hardly have time to develop. Because what are you talking about? We're talking about 52 weeks out of the year that you get to see that pastor.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I see Kenny probably 4 times a week. I see you at least 2 to 3.
You were blessed.
And yes, indeed. So sometimes that's one of the reasons the church is so weak now is because it hadn't had a good solid pastor and a good solid leader for a long time to guide it and steer it and teach it. So that's one. That just goes to what you said. Going back to how the question started was, okay, yeah, I'll agree with you to some degree. I ain't got to be in church every Sunday. I mean, no, that's legalism. At the same time, my question to anybody that doesn't want to be in church is, well, why don't you want to be in church?
Yeah.
I mean, that we always put the emphasis on, well, you can be anywhere you want, but why would you want to? What? Because it's in the church that's God's greenhouse, if you will, that God has planted that seed in you, and the church is the greenhouse that helps it to grow, to fertilize it, to keep it warm, to have other Christians come beside you and speak into your life, to have other Christians come beside you and help you to understand passages. I mean, we are not made to be lone rangers. We are made for community. We need that. And if you're not getting that, then you're not experiencing the full growth and the full strength of walking with the Lord. I mean, it's just, yeah, you can still have a great time worshiping and you can have a great time out fishing and thinking about the Lord. I get that, but you still need brothers and sisters in Christ that are going to speak into your life or to challenge you or, hey, look, heaven forbid the bottom drop out. I mean, because that will. I mean, there's going to be a time when we're all going to need somebody sometime. And man, if I hadn't got those friends or that bond of brothers and sisters in Christ to lean upon, that's one of the reasons, man, I love the church is because I know, man, if something happens to me, I know some family I'm going to be taken care of. Why? Because of the body of Christ.
Yeah. And I like, I want to be around people that believe like me, think like me. Like when I just said, "You're blessed."
Yeah.
Y'all knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, if
Yeah,
I
you were
said
being
that,
arrogant. We knew.
I mean, if I was at Panera, which I very seldom go,
Yeah.
A couple times a day at most.
they wouldn't even
I
know
think
what.
no, them peanuts. I need to go use your drink.
Yeah, I mean, I very seldom go there, but they wouldn't know what I was talking about.
That's
So-
all money though.
Come on.
But not.
No, I'm talking about in general.
Yeah.
Like all my neighbors, I don't have anything in common with them because they're just from
Other
other
than you
places.
live in Willow Spring.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, we think alike. I know what he's talking about when he's saying, something that I'm the eternity or whatever. I know
For
what
sanctification.
Yeah, we have our own language, and I want to be around people that I feel comfortable with,
Right.
that take an interest in me, and I take an interest in them, and I don't find that in the world.
Well, and
General.
man, I'm trying not to be too wordy today because I got a lot
You
to say.
can, but it ain't real.
Well, yeah,
It's a
it's
it's a
always
falsity.
trying to get
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, it's a falsity.
It's always about making money.
So a few things to that. Number one, let me get back to this first. And I don't know if this is necessarily true or not. I don't know if there's another church in Wake County that I could have joined that would have led to me being as active in the church as I am here.
Right.
I think
Right.
just from knowing you, starting
Right.
this thing, getting to know Kenny on Thursday mornings and being invited to this and getting to know people in that. I just don't know if I were going, I mean, and I that's you can't prove it one way or the other. I've not been to all the different
No.
churches. I don't know, but I'm just saying that it's a rare thing for me to find a church that I like as much as I've loved being a part of this. And and again, I think I've been a member of, I guess, 3 churches.
Right.
One I was only really going for about a year. It was right before I went to college.
Right.
I visited a few churches that I kind of liked. Not, nothing that I was all that pumped about. I do remember when I started going to Baptist Grove, Heather and I had visited several churches at that time, and I remember as soon as we left Baptist Grove, I really like that one.
Right.
I want to go there more. But to me, it's just it's kind of rare. So for someone who is searching for a church, or for someone who I think some people don't. There's a lot of different reasons people don't go to church. I think there are some people who don't go to church just because they haven't found the right one.
Right.
And I do think that going to the wrong one can cause harm. You're never nothing bad is if you look at. I think I've heard you say this before. Is like a three-legged stool. You need Bible time. You need
Right.
prayer time. You need a church.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the church is the only one of those that is pretty much. It's going to have the most
It's a
involvement
wild
from other
card.
humans. Right. Wild card. Bible is straight from God.
Yeah.
Prayer is straight to God.
Right.
You get to a church, you get a lot of human contamination.
And it's finding the right kind of church. It's
Finding the right
finding a
one.
church that, and I always tell people when you are looking at church, there's a couple things that I recommend that first and foremost beyond any other. One is, all right, are they teaching the Bible? All right,
Mhm,
is it good, solid biblical teaching? If it isn't, leave.
mhm,
Sorry. There's nothing else that can make up for that.
mhm,
I think that's number one with a bullet. Number 2, is it a friendly and welcoming place? When I come into the doors, do I feel like somebody wants me here?
mhm.
Or at least somebody knows my name and somebody went out of their way to say, "Good morning, man. How you doing?"
Yep.
I want that. I recommend that anyway. Number 3, I think and probably I'd put number 3 above number 2 is, okay, now I wanna begin to look where I can serve. I think one of the things that you just said about Fuquay Baptist, it could have happened somewhere else.
Yeah.
The Lord lined it up
Mhm,
so that, okay, you knew the pastor and, we've had a relationship that, that we've known each other for a long time. So you came into that. Number 2 is you met a lot of good people. You also went out of your way to go to a Thursday morning Bible study.
mhm.
If you That's the other thing for folks, if you're looking at church, find you one that makes it easy to go to and do stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you live 70 miles away, I
Mhm.
doubt you're gonna go on Wednesday night.
Right.
If you live 70 miles away, I doubt you're gonna go to a Thursday morning Bible study. It
Mhm,
makes it very difficult. And if you that's where you build those relationships like with a Kenny or someone else in there that, man, y'all really, and then think about the Bible study you do on Tuesday nights.
mhm.
You've gotten to where you know all those guys, and those guys are pretty sharp scripturally, and they help you and you help them. That's what you're looking for is that stickiness, that sincerity, and that love that is there for one another. And is this a place where I can serve? Sometimes, and this is the thing is, and this is a debate I get into with my father-in-law sometimes he's all about the mega church now,
Mhm.
or bigger church.
You
He wants a church with 1,000 because they can do so much. And I'm like, yeah, but you can also do some things. Churches with
you
200 can do just as much sometimes. And he was like, no, it ain't you don't have as much opportunity to serve. Yeah, you do.
yeah.
And I threw up. I said, I don't know of a church in America that don't need nursery workers. That's serving.
Mhm.
Well, not everybody's called to be a nursery worker. And we went back and forth, and I said, well, why not?
Yeah,
You know, you can serve 1 month out of the year, can't you?
yeah,
Or 1 week out of the month.
yeah.
Come on, man. And so it went back and forth. It was fun. At the same time, I'm of the notion that, hey, I don't care if the church is running 50 or 10,000. Find you a place where you can serve, not be a face in the crowd, not just be somebody that just comes and goes. Find you a place you can serve. And then that sometimes can be hard in a smaller church. just as hard, just as much as it is in a larger church.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in a smaller church, well, that's my job. I've been doing that job for 75 years.
Yeah.
That's ownership.
Yep.
Well, and flip side to that is
Mine.
Yeah, yeah, and we've seen that. I mean, you see that in no matter what size church. Honestly, it can happen.
Yeah.
And to some degree, hey, it can happen with your pastor, it can happen with staff.
Yeah.
But okay, wait a minute. I've been doing this job for this way for so long, we can't change it. Well, I don't want to change it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe God's wanting to change it. I don't know.
Well, and I can, I'll play maybe devil's advocate a little bit here and say, because I kind of am presenting one side of the argument here and saying, well, you don't need a good. I'm not trying to make it sound like you don't need a church and
No,
trying to
no, no.
discourage
But
church. The flip side of it is that from my experience with it, it's not an overnight thing where, just you walk in one day and all of a sudden you got 25 new friends. But I did look up the other day. I can't remember when this was. It might be my birthday. You get a lot of texts on your birthday or whatever. There was some point in time that I looked at my phone and it was like 8 of the last 12 people that had texted me were from the church.
yeah,
Something like that. And it's like, they're not just, hey, how you doing on Sunday morning relationships.
no,
They've
no,
become
this is
deep
friends.
friendships.
Yeah,
And
this is somebody. I hate to say it. This is somebody you can call in the middle of the night if you had to.
mhm. Yeah, and it's, I got Doug trying to help me with my recording software.
Right.
Brandon texts me all the time during football games. You start to, it's not all, every text that's exchanged back and forth between the people you meet in church are always going to be about the Bible.
No, it ain't Bible verses.
But I have definitely experienced that benefit. But maybe that's the one of the triggers for bringing it up is this really the first time that I've gotten to enjoy that side of church.
Right.
And I guess I'm just, trying to think through like, well, what's other than just the obvious that it's just God doing his thing, what is special about this church? What's special about and how do people who don't have that find it? Or, what is it? And I don't know how to put my finger on it. It's just God did it. That's the answer. I don't know what else to say, church. I'm just saying for someone who's looking, it's
Well,
I think it's
this church-
harder. I do think it's harder to find a good church than I wish it was. I wish it was as easy as finding a good steakhouse in town, but it feels like it's hard to find.
That's pretty tough too.
What I hear, and I hear it a lot, is this church is the most loving church they've been to
Mm-hmm.
in a long time, either a long time or ever.
Mhm.
And that's not because of him. That's not because of me. That's just because of all of us. And I had that the other day, actually. Was it either Sunday or the Sunday before? I'm not sure. Where someone told me, but yeah, man, I love this church. I want to keep coming back.
Yeah.
The best church I've ever been to. But I think it's all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
And it is everybody. I mean, you can't. I think it's one of those things of, and I want to stress to people, you can't be a just me, myself, and I,
no,
and be a genuine Christian. You've got to be about. Your eyes have got to be focused on others and their hurts and their needs and be compassionate towards them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's just I care less, yeah, that's going to be a cold dead church for long.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna have your bad people in that. Bad. I wouldn't say bad, but
Then you're gonna have people that aren't as compassionate.
yeah,
And you're gonna have some people that are, I can't believe all this growth, and I've lost my pew. There's too many people in here. I can't sit where I always sit, or I got to go sit in the balcony, or I got to go do this now.
Yeah.
That's going to require sacrifice too. That if you want to continue to love and grow, you got to be willing to sacrifice because it ain't going to always be easy.
Yeah.
Because the more people you have, the more problems you have.
Yeah.
I mean, usually a good church is one of. There are people that complain, but it's on the lower end part.
Yeah.
Percentage wise. The
At
higher
least
end,
that's where you want it.
yeah, oh yeah. But I mean, God loves them too. That's all I can say.
It's not as much. No, I'm just kidding. See, look.
I mean, that's all I have to say. I can't say anything else other than God loves them too.
Yeah, that was a good way to put it.
Yeah, I try.
As best I can.
Yeah.
I really want to make a T-shirt that says Jesus says I have to love you. Please stop making it so hard.
Yeah, don't make
Yeah.
it. Man.
Yeah. Did you happen to? I know I texted you this song a while back. Did you ever listen to the one I sent you? God loves country music, or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
That was just a cool, funny. It's true, but it's funny. It's talking about and it kind of does relate a little bit to what we were saying earlier about people forgetting about what Jesus was about. But everything he says in that song is true. When you look at the things that he talked about, the way he taught, he didn't teach in a way that was necessarily targeting the academics. He was targeting the what was it you called them Sunday morning? The sky gazing bookworms. Is that what you
Yeah,
said? What was
that
it?
was the Magi.
The Magi. Yeah,
The sky gazing bookworms.
yeah.
That's the best way to put it.
He was Jesus's entire, I don't know if personality is the right word, but to whatever extent you can draw from scripture to paint a picture of Jesus' personality, he was an everyday person, so to speak, in terms of how he that's who he hung out with.
Yeah,
That's who
tax
he
collectors and sinners.
right.
I mean, he was friends of them. I mean,
Yes.
it's so much so that the leaders had to say, "I can't believe you hanging out with them people."
Right. Yeah.
And I just don't think you're able to hang out with those people and be a stick in the mud.
And that's where I think that it's and I'm not making much of a point here because it's something I'm still trying to figure or, work through myself with it, but I try to remember that about him instead of I'm really bad to look at to forget how loving and accepting and even and I mean I ought to know, at this point I ought to know that it's a pretty fundamental thing. But it's easy to forget just how again, what we talked about before, he knows everything and he loves you anyway. Nothing that you do bad surprises him, nothing good that happens surprises him, anything in between. And he's not looking for you to get you can if you want to, but it's not about how nice you dress to go to church, how eloquently you pray, how fast you can read, how deep your spiritual knowledge is.
Verses you got memorized.
That's right. Just be. That was the thing I loved about that client. He's a guy from Texas, and he talks in the text that he sends me. It's basically a copy and paste of his prayer.
Right.
And if that's a true representative, then he talks to God like he talks to me. He uses these Texas slang and all these different things. And I love that. I just love the genuineness.
Well, I think that's the way it needs to be.
Yeah.
There's a song, what you're saying. There's a song that one of my favorite artists of all time, and I believe I've mentioned him on the show. If I haven't, shame on me, is Rich Mullins.
Oh, love him.
All right.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes.
The one that
Step by Step.
Amy Grant made a hit out of. I can't think.
Yeah. Oh, there's numerous.
Yeah.
If you knew all the songs he wrote, you'd be amazed.
Yeah.
Rich Mullins was an interesting guy, and I loved him just for the simple reason of he could have been a multimillionaire probably many times over. But when it came time for him to negotiate his contract, he said, just pay me what the average construction worker makes. He lived on the Indian reservation, didn't live fancy, just pay me what the average guy makes. I mean, he had royalty after royalty after royalty. And he sung a song. He went and he made a demo album like 2 weeks before he died. He went to a church and played it on an old I mean, you can tell it just sounds terrible. And it's almost like he had a recorder. He hit record and just started playing. Well, they then took those songs and turned them into somebody, they let stars sing them because they realized, well, one, it's Rich Mullins, number two, and he died in a car accident between that time. And he's got a song that is, it's called Surely God Is With Us. And I love the song, and I'll never forget the first time I heard the song, I was like, I can't believe he just said that. And it is basically the Pharisees saying, who's this man? He says he's a prophet. Who's this man? He's disturbing all our peace. Well, the chorus goes like this. It says, the whores all seem to love him, and the drunks propose a toast. And I remember hearing that thinking, that's exactly what he did. I wanted to get like, I can't believe he just used the word whores and drunks in the song. But at the same time, it was the drunks and the prostitutes that he was friends with. And surely God is with us. And man, I'm telling you, that was one of those songs that first time I heard it, I couldn't believe it. Then the more I listened to it, I try to play it all the time because it has, when you hear the song, you'll see it's got some of Jesus's teachings in there. Basically, he goes through the Beatitudes. Who can teach like this? Blessed are the poor in spirit, for heaven belongs to them. I mean, he just goes through the Beatitudes, and I'm like, Rich Mullins was a sharp, sharp guy that loved the Lord. But that song helped me to see Jesus more on the human side than some guy that has come to judge, some guy that has just, has brought wrath upon us.
So I think we all like to jump on the Pharisees and pick on them a little bit for how much they missed it and all this kind of stuff. But think about that for a second. Let's take you, for example. You're a pastor, not the, I mean, I'm not trying to compare you to
No,
Jesus, but
no, or a Pharisee, I hope.
that's where we're all trying to go. That's right. But what would people think about you if
Yeah.
your clique were prostitutes and drunks?
Yeah, if I was out, or if I went, no doubt, no
There's a
doubt. It would
difference
be
between
tough.
being nice to somebody on the street, that you pass somebody and
right.
you don't judge them. But it didn't say he tolerated the drunks and it says he was a friend.
Friends with him.
Right.
And it was one of, I'm hesitating on saying this story because it's true, and I want to protect the innocent, but nobody has to know names. I'm pastor. I won't even say which church I was at. Maybe that'll throw a mystery. I was at a function with a bunch of guys, and all of a sudden they said, "Hey, let's go get us a beer." And I remember just kind of chuckling on the inside because they said, "Won't you go with us, Ben?" To them, it didn't mean anything,
Yeah.
And I told them, I said, "Boys, I got to get home. I'd love to." I said, "I tell you what, let's go get lunch next week."
Mhm.
But I wasn't gonna. Oh, I can't believe y'all would go and do that.
Yeah.
Because I know where they are in their walk.
Mhm.
At the same time, I know where I don't need to be per se, but if I was there, okay, as long as I may be having a tea,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. But I think it's one of I laugh at it because one, I felt like okay, they see me as approachable, that
Mhm.
they would even invite me,
Yeah.
because I wasn't nowhere near their age. So
Right.
I would be like, who's the old guy? Uh, at the same time, it is one of those of I wouldn't necessarily say no. I just felt
Mhm.
like at that time, nah, we're good.
Well, and that's on some level, it might even be the point that you have a responsibility, maybe in a way that, if people were to see you out at a bar drinking a tea,
Tear them up.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
then they're going to sit there and start to look at you and say,
Why
"Well,
you're
you shouldn't
there?
be." But see, this is where if we're taking the Bible literally, where was Jesus at?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we would be wrong for judging a pastor for being at a bar
Right.
with people that were drinking.
And-
At the
and-
same time, that's exactly one of the reasons that you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Or-
But Paul says, "Be in, not of."
Right.
And I think that all goes back to your own walk with the Lord. I think it all goes back to the liberty you have in Christ. At the same time, it goes back to the responsibility you have as a leader that, hey, I need to make sure I'm putting forward the Christ at his best. Because truth be known, as a pastor and anybody truly, but you represent Christ.
Mhm.
And I kind of have to represent him more than anybody else.
You do.
Yeah.
At
In
the
our
same
culture,
time, but
in
we
that
all do. I mean, that's everybody. I mean, you represent Christ to that church. I mean,
Yeah.
they're looking at you saying, I want not maybe not I want my Christ to be like that, but they should be able to see Christ in you to say, no, that's being Christ like.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember being a kid and with the pastors I had thinking, oh man, they are, higher than, but I also saw them as inapproachable.
Yeah.
I didn't see them as being very friendly per se, even though they knew me and they knew my parents and they would come over to supper and everything. But I never saw them as being, they were almost too holy and not real.
Yeah.
I could not see this guy going to a football game.
Yeah.
I could not see that guy wanting to go fishing or just do anything. I could not see that guy doing anything with me.
Well, and that's one of the hardest things that I've found to balance in the two different ways of saying it, and they kind of mean the same thing. Be of the world, not or be in the world, not of the world. And it's also back to what we've said a bunch of times about the grace and falling somewhere between the legalism and the grace.
Right.
Because I have found myself,
Balance.
sneaking way too far to the legalism side more than I ever thought I would have.
Yeah.
Because I was as anti-legalist, probably, if that's a word, as you could be. And
It is.
And then sometimes I float where I give myself a little bit too much grace too, and then I give a little bit too legalistic, and then a little bit too much grace. And there's times that I start to feel like I'm a little bit of a stuffy Pharisee and don't want to do anything with anybody because I don't want their sin, their sin to rub off on me or whatever. And then there's times that I, hang out and do things probably I shouldn't do. That it's, maybe it's a good thing nobody was watching. So it's a hard thing to balance, but I was thinking about we were talking about serving and ministries and things like that. I was thinking about this morning. Every one of us, our life is its own ministry. It's every single thing that we're doing, whether we're at the grocery store, wherever we're playing golf, wherever we are, whatever we're doing, it's its own ministry.
Well, it's the living worship service
Right.
of Galatians 2:19 and 20.
Every one of our personalities is a little different. It's going to flesh itself out a little differently in the way you in the situations you might be in. There might be some situations that you might be in that I wouldn't want to be in, or vice versa. Everybody's going to be a little different in their own just makeup, I guess.
Right.
But that trying to be like Jesus, regardless of the circumstance, is the thing that I try to do. I think that's what we're trying to do is wherever we're put, try to represent him.
Right.
But that's such a hard thing to balance because every time I try to clean up a little bit on one side, I drift too far that way. And then I try to clean that up and I drift too far the other way. It's just a hard thing to balance.
Let me take over for you.
I'm done.
I know you're biting at the bit. So
Yeah.
I want you to say so.
No, what I was going to say, might have been a little further back. I don't think there's anything wrong with drinking, but I know that I would make but I don't. It's not even in my mind to have anything. I don't really care. But I don't criticize people.
Yeah.
But I know if I was seen, or if you were seen, mostly you, not necessarily me.
Well, you
It
too
would
now.
Yeah, it would be it would cause somebody else to fall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's not wrong in itself. I mean, there is don't be drunk with wine, but,
But there's also a little one for your stomach's sake.
and I'm pretty sure Jesus had some wine.
Well, I'm
Uh,
pretty positive,
yeah, and so and so
and I don't have a problem with
but there's a lot of things that I don't think are wrong that I don't do,
Mhm.
because I know someone else does.
Yeah.
Well, working on Sunday in your yard, I used to. I don't anymore because makes it don't mean a thing to me.
and you're retired.
Yeah, yeah, but someone yeah. Well, I am not retired, but I'm just not working. I'm unemployed. Yeah, I'll do things on Sunday only because it offends some older people,
Right.
and I don't need that. I don't need that hassle. But what you said is, we are, and this is going on to another area that you're talking about. We do see different people. Each one of us see different people. I'll meet somebody that you will never meet. So we all have a world that we can lead to Christ. Yeah, we all have someone that we would be the focal points for, for somebody to receive the gospel. I meet people all day long that he'll never meet. Yeah, you do, he does, so we all have our area of calling. We all have certain people that we need to, you know, talk about the gospel and don't miss that chance. So okay, you clean it up.
No, I think you did a good job. I mean, I really do. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that because I agree with you that each person is equipped to impact his world or her world for Christ. How that shapes out is going to be different for each person. For some, it might be that they can use a special skill or
Mm.
a game,
Mhm.
golf game. For some, it may be that maybe he has he can teach and preach. For others, it's that he knows a lot of people. Whatever the case may be, God brings that situation, and it kind of goes back to that story of the pastor that is not looking for the next stepping stone. It's looking to say, God, I want to be faithful wherever you have me.
Mhm.
And so how that shapes out is I want to be faithful today to whatever you put before me. And if then it ends up being that I get a promotion or I go to a church with 5,000 or this church grows to 5,000, good. because the truth of it is, it wasn't you that did it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me is some of these pastors feel like it's, "Oh, they did all this and I built all that." And I'm like, "No, except for the grace of God, you wouldn't even have a place to serve, dude."
Yeah.
So don't pat yourself on the back too much.
Yeah, let me clean that one.
No, oh, you're gonna clean that one up. Thank you.
Nah, nah, but I'll but let's not get too prideful that I won this person for Christ.
No,
Nobody
Mm-mm.
wins
no.
anybody.
Mm-mm.
Well,
Well,
it goes back.
it's not one person, it's a whole
That's right.
community.
Yeah.
And if you now the person that they actually went to have prayer and get saved, they might get credit for it. But it's been
Yeah, it's a lot
that
that
has
goes
been work
into it.
going on for a while.
That's right.
And I don't necessarily agree with, well, that I might be the only light for somebody. I don't even know if that's in the Bible.
Well, that
Yeah,
was I
like, I'm the only person. Well, that's a little prideful to me. I think God gives us more than just one chance, and I don't think one person is called to. Let's say you witness to somebody, are you? And I've heard this, and when I did this I used to do this a lot. You felt a witness to somebody. Did you miss a chance? Yes. Is that the only chance they're going to get? I sure hope not, because
But
I
it
don't
could
think.
be. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but
It
I
probably
don't.
isn't, but I mean, because Romans 1 testifies that, okay,
You
there
already
is a
know
God,
there is a God.
but
Yeah,
they may not have heard the gospel.
well,
but
and
I
I've
don't
heard
think I don't think our failure. If you want to get saved, you're going to get saved. If you will admit that you are a
Sinner?
a sinner, recognize you're a sinner.
Mhm.
You're going to find the gospel. If you recognize you're a sinner, and if you know the bad news and don't want to be part of the bad news, you're going to find the good news eventually. God's going to make a way,
Yeah.
and he's not dependent on one person.
Yeah.
Now that's not it. Maybe that's not in the Bible, but that's just my thought.
Well, it's funny that you
I
brought that up because that was actually part of my prayer the other day I was telling you about is that I'd heard that before or heard it said somewhere, you may be the only
yeah, I mean,
light
I don't.
to
Is
somebody
it
ever
in the Bible?
You're the only Bible someone will ever
something like
read,
that. Yeah, I've heard
something
things
like
like
that.
and
I
I
mean,
get that.
I mean, I get it,
But at
but
the
I
same
don't.
time, as I'm praying that day, I'm saying, it's easy to take on, and I'm real bad for this to take that and think, man, I'm really important. I've got to do a good job here because I'm the only person that I'm the only one in the world that can help this person know God. No,
You're
I'm
going to be judged
not.
for that.
yeah,
Yeah, I nowhere close to that. Right.
yeah.
If there is and that's what I'm, trying to clean my prayer up. Is that happens to me a lot. While I'm praying, I'll notice the mistake and the error in what I'm saying, and it'll help me to kind of think through a little bit of okay, what is the right? And where I ended up with this is just if there's a role that you have for me to play in this situation, don't let me miss it.
Yeah, just let
But
be obedient.
do what you need to do, and let me know
Yeah.
if I can be a part of it. And I don't even like to say, "Let me know if you need me," because you don't need me.
No,
He
it
can do
goes
it with or
back.
without me.
The whole and maybe that's the whole theme of today is be faithful where you are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If that's, going to the gas station and God's leading you to share with the person that you're pumping gas across from, share.
Mhm.
If it's to just be faithful as a pastor, a Sunday school teacher, the children's church work, whatever the case may be faithful where you are and share and show the love of Christ. That's all I mean, it's not complicated.
There's your title.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it.
There you go.
Be faithful where you are.
Be faithful where you are. I like that.
Yeah.
But it really is. I mean, I'd give that word to every pastor I ever met that seemed to be struggling is okay, just be faithful where you are because if God wants to move you, he will.
Mhm.
But just be faithful. If it's to be the pastor of 30 or a pastor of 3,000.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the grass is not greener on the other side.
No,
Well, it might be, but it might be a septic tank over there.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And too many times people think, okay, oh yeah, people that are in a place that you want to be, they got it so much easier.
Oh yeah.
And truth be known, I'm sorry, I've yet to see it. But no matter what you make, you spend, and no matter how you think that they've got it easy, no, there's headaches that go with every job.
Mhm.
So they
I
just
mean,
go with everybody.
yeah,
Yeah. Nobody gets a free ride. I don't care if you're making all the money you can.
no,
Your
that's
parents
right.
die. your people that you love die.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's gonna be problems.
You
In
know,
this world, you will
you're
have
gonna be
troubles.
afraid that someone's gonna take it away from you
Mhm.
instead of, "I wish I had that much."
Yeah.
Well, they're thinking, "I'm afraid you're gonna take it away
Yeah,
from
how
me."
am I gonna
Yeah,
keep it?
yeah, yeah. So everybody has, and that don't resonate to me where I'm saying, "Well, afraid they're gonna take away everything I have." But it does, makes a big difference for a lot of people
Yeah.
to have something. Yeah, they don't wanna depart from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, your biggest problem is, "What am I gonna do with all this?"
My biggest problem is finding it.
Why don't you bury it in so many jars in the back?
I don't remember where it's at. And there's a time in my life I don't remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man's got it
I've
buried
been
behind the
yeah, I'm
jars and
trying to.
everything, mason
You don't know
jars.
how many holes I have in my yard.
I
Yeah.
know, I
In the
know.
back.
That's why you put all them oyster shells
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Yeah. Even for the pastors though that want to be the mega churches and all this kind
Oh,
of stuff.
yeah.
Like I get wanting to see the kingdom grow. I get that part.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's this might have even been another part of my prayer the other day too. Is that I can't imagine anything much more nauseating to God than a human trying to take credit for his work. And I think that goes on a lot, and maybe even more so in churches than other places, just because there's this
'Cause
is
it is
this
his
is the
work.
place of God's work, right? So we see a church go from 17 or whatever we see the first time I came in here to 200 or 250.
Right.
I mean, could be really easy for you to, man, look what I've
Get a big
done.
head
But
and then watch it go back down to 17.
right,
'Cause
yeah.
that's I mean, I think it goes back to, I've always told people that, you can choose 2 ways, and you can choose your enemies.
Hmm.
Alright, I already know I got an enemy.
Yeah.
I don't need another one, and I sure don't need God as my enemy. But
Right.
if I choose to operate in pride, that is where you're gonna go ahead and put yourself as an enemy to God, because God opposes the proud,
Hmm.
but gives grace to the humble. But staying humble is not an easy thing. In fact, I dare say it's one of those things that when you say, "Oh, I'm humble," no, you're not.
Yeah.
But it does have to be something that you realize, it ain't me that did this. It's the Lord, and don't ever get the big head about it, because that's not the place I want to be.
I wouldn't say I'm humble, but I can say this, and
Uh
I'm
oh.
This is
I mean,
it. This is it.
I mean,
This is gonna be one of those I'm
in
not
my
judging,
in
but
my opinion of myself, I could do nothing without Christ, and I don't know if
yeah.
that's saying that I'm humble or not, but I have realized that I mess things up,
Mhm.
and I'm not afraid to admit it.
Yep.
I'm not afraid to admit that I'm wrong anymore. Um,
Well, and what I said a minute ago
Mm.
can have a lot of different applications. Don't try to take credit for God's work.
yeah.
I mean, that can be in the church. That can apply to just about anything in your life, though.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's
When the proudest man in the Bible that learned the hardest lesson from pride was probably one of the most pagan men in the Bible, Nebuchadnezzar.
Mhm.
Nebuchadnezzar's walking around on his palace one day and he sees all the kingdom and he thinks to himself, "Boy, I have done well. I have built this myself." And then he has a dream, and basically Daniel comes to him and says, "Oh, by the way, so you're going to spend some time out in the woods, bud,
Mhm.
and you're going to spend it as an animal, and I'm going to teach you, I'm going to break you."
Yeah.
And he learned what humility was. So, yeah, you don't have to be a Christian to walk in pride and realize God opposes the proud anyway. And I would submit, if you're not saved, then you probably are still walking in pride already,
Mhm.
of knowing, I think I know better than God does, or I'm
Well, Peter talks about that. He says, if you don't humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, He's going to humble you.
Yep.
And if you don't cast your cares upon Him, you're going to be afraid and fearful.
Yep.
Did I quote it right? I
Sort
think
of.
I quoted backwards.
You're close. But you're right.
Well,
Even casting your cares upon him is an act of humility, because it's admitting, "I'm not designed to carry these. I can't carry these. He's better equipped to handle this."
Yeah.
But what do? "Oh, I can handle this one." And rather than casting all our cares on him because he cares for us.
One of the one of the toughest tests of pride, probably for me in recent memory, was when Gabe got baptized,
Mhm.
because that's one that is easy to take some credit for teaching him about God, talking to him about God, all these kind of things, and I knew better than to take credit for it, but it was an easy one to let slip in if I wasn't careful.
Yeah.
And I tried really hard to remember that around that time that, don't be taking credit for what God did. This is his work. He lets you play a role in it, and that's great.
Yeah.
But there's also a flip side to it though that I've said several times before about pride is that humility is a gift when you ever get to that point where you recognize that you don't have to take and I already kind of see, I think, where you might want to go with this after I
No,
finish,
no, I'm liking
but
this.
with humility, if I get to take pride in helping Gabe learn to know about Jesus, well, then I also have to take the responsibility of, oh, I better not mess it up with the other two. But
Mm,
when I look at, okay, well, it's not really my job. My job's to teach and to guide and to plant
right.
seeds and do these things and trust God to do that. It helps me rest a little bit easier with Reese and Christian coming along next because I understand that I'm just this big of a part of his plan, and he's whatever infinite times bigger than me, and it gives at the end of the day, trading humility for pride or trading your pride in for humility gives you peace
Right.
because it gets you
Yes.
out of the way and lets you focus on the fact that he's in control, he's got it, and he loves them more than I do anyway. So pray for him, do what you can to teach him and let him. He's I'm there to plant, he's there to harvest, right?
Right.
So
Right. You got
it's
it. No, you want that?
No, I'm gonna let you chime in.
I
Yeah.
mean, you still have to do
Well,
your part
I think it's
in.
one of those things of, I hesitate to say because I look, man, I want to be honest with you. I've been proud of my kids before,
Mhm.
and I don't think that's necessarily a sin. Uh, like you
What's the
said, I
difference in a
think
sin and a sin sin?
I don't think it's a sin to be, man. I'm proud of my kids. And the fact that they worked hard, they accomplished what they wanted to do, they came to know Christ.
Mhm.
I'm so and to me, it's a fine line between being thankful and having a pride about that than just being proud of, huh, well, look at my kid. He's just like me and he's great and he's this, that, and the other versus, no, man, I am proud of what the Lord's done. I'm proud of how the Lord, thankful that he used me. And I think that maybe I'm just trying to figure out the difference between thankful and pride
There you go.
and when I use pride.
Because I noticed you were saying pride, thankful,
But it's
thankful.
okay to be
There you
thankful
Hell
of,
yeah.
Lord, I am so thankful, but I'm proud of, Daniel, what is the man he's become, Nate, what is the
But you're
person
thankful
he's
for it.
become,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's
and
not
that
right.
God, you were gracious to them, and it makes me, just swell up inside. Not that I'm, oh, look at me, I'm the best father. Ward Cleaver wishes he had something on me. No, that's not it. It's more of I'm proud of what God did through their lives. I'm thankful for that. So maybe I'm struggling.
You're using the
I'm
wrong word.
struggling more than anybody today on this
Well, no,
because
Oh, I
I would
know.
be this would be a fun little challenge. I don't know if there's anything I have not thought of anything yet
Mhm,
that I can say if you that I can't replace I'm proud of with I'm grateful for. There's nothing that I have
mm,
that I have to be proud for, or I don't there's nothing that I have to be proud of that God didn't do for me
right.
or that I can't give thanks to God for.
And we kind of talked about that at Thanksgiving. That
Yeah,
pride and thankfulness are really the opposite of each
opposites.
other.
Yep.
And so maybe they're so opposite that they can also be substituted for.
Well, if you can use thankful,
Replaced. Yeah.
replace thankful with pride with the word pride when you talk about, I think it's being
Yeah.
thankful.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's pride.
Yeah.
Pride is, well, we all know what pride is. It's all about me.
Yeah.
And when you start talking about me, it sounds at least a bad taste in your mouth, with other people. And that I did this. And you see this watching sports.
Mm,
And who are the ones that you kind of gravitate when they're doing an interview? Uh, Well, this was the game. I just got lucky. Well, yeah, and that's not the truth. You're skilled, but
yeah.
I say that. I told them guys I was going to knock them up inside the head.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
told him I was
yeah,
gonna win.
yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
I
you've
think
seen proud athletes. Terrell Owens.
Yeah, but not in the camera. Not
Not a
all of them.
not
No,
a
I say you see, if they've been schooled, they don't say that what they don't
Yeah,
say
they know how to
what they don't say what they say on the court.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they'll say, yeah,
Well,
I'm
more
gonna
and more
bust
they
you
are.
up." Yeah.
More and more they are. I tell you what, I was highly disappointed, and I'm just gonna put it out there. Watched the North Carolina State high school championship games. Man, I ain't never seen nothing. They acted like the pros of 10 years ago when we were all appalled. Can you believe he did that? And
Yeah.
now they're doing that in high school like it's every play. And it's like, man, just act like you got some sense and play the game.
That's one of the things that I've watching sports. I still love to watch sports, but when and I don't know if it's I might have said this before too. I don't know if this is every Christian or if it's just my hot button because that's the thing God had to work on the most with me was pride. But seeing pride is just one of those things that's like nails on a chalkboard. Can't stay. It just
Well,
and you
you
can't
spot it
miss it.
quick.
You spot it quick, and you can't miss it watching any sporting event now. And there's a fine line there too. You want your athletes to be confident and to
Yeah,
and
there's confidence. They ain't gotta be cocky.
right, yeah,
And a teammate, not just all about me.
yeah. That's when playing golf is that's something I've worked on and practiced on a lot. Is never would have associated golf and pride for me because I always felt like I had a lack of confidence playing golf. That was a big part of my
Well,
problem.
golf will humble you.
It will humble you in
At the same
in a big
time,
way.
it can make you proud.
But at the same time, I mean, I was pretty good at it, and I was absolutely cocky at certain times.
You can get to the point you're so cocky that you're like, golly. Yep.
But that's something more and more and more as I've been playing again, just recognizing that it's even that is not something I get credit for. God gave me the ability to be able to swing a club, period, much less swing it well. And I've learned that there's even a couple of I did a physical assessment with a guy that does that, and even at 40 years old or whatever, when you look at like mobility and things like that, I've got more of it than
Right.
you normally would. Well, I certainly have done nothing to cause that. I didn't.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't stretch. I didn't work out or anything like that. But it's just the way I'm put together, maybe. But it's you just the more I look at it, the less that I have to be anything but thankful for.
Right.
He did it all. There's not a thing. The air in my lungs to my kids and anything in between. What have I got to be proud of? I still am a lot of times, but I shouldn't be.
And maybe that's the same as worship and adoration. I'm proud of my God, what he did and what he's done and how he's done all these great things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I going out on a limb there?
No, I think you're good, though. I think you're good.
But
I mean, I like it. I like that. I just think if you can substitute thankful with pride,
right.
the word pride, that's pretty much. I think you're on the right track.
I think I was so bad at saying I'm proud of this, proud of that, that when I started trying to work on pride, I started to clean that up. And it was just a challenge to me, I think, at some point to say, okay, is there a way to say this without saying the word proud?
Right.
And thankful for is the only thing that I found is a good substitute. And it's true. And anything that I found, there's anything you've got to be proud of, you should be thankful for
Well, in
instead.
the Christian world, pride is a dirty word.
Well, in the Bible, it's a dirty word.
Well, yeah.
It's good reason, I think.
What I'm saying is, in the Christian world, there's a lot of definitions for pride. It's not just being boastful,
or self-centered or
self-centered,
stuck on myself.
but it has a bad name.
Right.
The word, I'm talking about just the word, not the meaning. I'm talking about, how we use pride, because we use pride for being thankful. We use pride for other things. But when you say pride, everybody looks up and says, that's a bad thing. But it's not necessarily bad.
I seriously don't even think I knew it was in society. Pride is not a bad
No, it's
thing.
not.
It's celebrated.
You in here.
And I remember somebody in an argument calling me out for my pride, and me thinking, why are you calling me out for pride's a good thing to have? Why are you knocking me down for having pride?
At least be self-confident.
Well,
I understand what they meant now.
I was in a deacon's meeting, and I actually had that happen Sunday. I was thankful, but I think I used, I'm proud of you guys. Now, is that pride or is that's thankful? Yeah, and I caught myself saying, "Oh, I should be using that word." Yeah, but I did. But yeah, that's what I meant. I was thankful for them.
Yeah. Well, and I get it. I mean,
Plus
I tell the kids I'm proud of you sometimes.
Yeah,
'Cause
there's
that's,
nothing wrong
you
with
know,
that. Hey, man,
Or cockiness.
I am proud to know that I know you,
yeah.
and I'm
Really?
proud to be your daddy. Man, it makes me happy inside to be your dad. You've done well. I mean, look, Proverbs 31, when he begins to describe his wife or that woman, and then at the end, you know, many have sought this, but you've done well. I don't know. I just think there's a it's okay to be thankful to the point of, man, I am just so proud of you.
I'm
I'm
proud to
proud of
be
my
married.
wife, you know?
I'm proud to be married to who I am. To who I am.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, so
She is too.
hey, that oh well. that no,
I think the word
think
you're looking for is tolerance.
yeah, she is very tolerant.
Well, the church is a good example of that, you know, to kind of put a bow on this maybe, but what I was saying earlier about the church, you know, for somebody who doesn't believe or has a bad image of Christians, I would be very proud to bring them to our church
Yeah.
and feel confident that they would get an accurate representation of what the church is supposed
Come
to
and
look
see.
like.
Come
Right.
and see.
But again, to use the word pride in that sentence is not appropriate.
Right.
I didn't create that.
No,
I did nothing
no,
to make that the
that's
case.
it.
I'm thankful that that's where God led me. So
Right.
I'm telling you, it's a challenge to try to find a place that pride works.
Well, I think it's every word. Yeah, there's not a bad word. It's just we have a bad thought. Our thought processes.
I
Yeah.
might know one or two bad words.
Well, I'm saying, and the word is, yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
but
the
I get
word
you.
itself,
Yeah.
but it's how we use it. It's
Yeah.
this is where you sin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When you act, you've already sinned. I mean,
Yeah.
you've sinned a long time, way back there. Act is the last part of sin, but you've already done it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
But it really does go back. If you stop and think about it, it goes back to a lot of that balance, that walk by the Spirit balance is what I call it. That you're able to determine right and wrong, determine how much left, how much right, how much grace, how much pride versus no, all that. It all goes back to balance, and I think your balance is going to come from your daily walk with the Lord, seeking Him, giving it all you got. I mean, one of the things that we talked about Sunday was what it means to seek the King. It means that he is the center of your thought life. He is the focus. He is the motivation for your action. He is what drives you. And when Christ is the one driving you, he helps you to work out all those things and he helps you to balance all
Mhm.
those things. So that's what I would encourage each and every person to get to the place where you're allowing the Lord to do that.
and the Bible says, therefore, be ye balanced.
Be ye balanced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
therefore, be ye balanced.
Come out from amongst them and be balanced.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah. All right, boys. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
and a happy New Year.
Yeah.
See y'all.
Hope you get plenty of peanuts for Christmas. So did you find out
What's that?
when it was? I mean, you're looking mighty.
No, I remember. Yeah,
Oh, what are you looking at them?
my name's so sad, but I'm.
Oh, I got you.
We'll just start the show. He can chime in when he wants. I mean,
Okay, I'm
you
ready.
don't have to
All right.
be
All right.
mentally present for the
Here
whole
we
show.
go.
Add one more.
Here we go.
We all got too many peanuts.
I know. Not enough juice.